And with that, we are about to get underway here. Mike Peden again with Kevin Ford, and we'll get names and numbers as we go along, but we can tell you roughly 30 teams are represented in this year's All-Star field. And some of these players will actually take part in the upcoming Alliance Bowl later this afternoon. That will be at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and that includes several members of the Central Cal War Angels, and for that reason they will be removed from the field, or taken off the field I should say, after the first quarter. Before we get started, feel free to engage with us on all forms of social media. You can email us by clicking the email link on the PSB screen, and you can also send us live tweets. If you have a viewing party, feel free to tweet it to PSBMN, and we'll try to get that up on the screen for you. PSBMN, if you have viewing parties going on and would like to share your photos, we will do our best to get them on the air. And if you have any tweets or shout-outs you would like to share, you can use my account at The Sports Brain. That is TheSportsBrain.
Yeah, Mike, I'll be here reading tweets and checking out those viewing party photos. I know last year we had a number of viewing parties taking place around the country, so have any of those, take a picture, tweet at us, or maybe email it, and we'll go ahead and try to show that on air if you'd like.
And that was the voice of Brett Johnson, who will be handling several of our duties for us today. And you can confirm, Brett, that we are up and running?
We are up and running, absolutely.
That's a first. Kevin, what are you looking forward to today?
Looking forward to see a lot of good football. Experience the WFA Championship weekend once more. Had a fun time last year in Chicago, and like to see who will be crowned new champion at the end of the day.
The American will wear the red jerseys, National will wear the blue. We do use multiple numbers, so this could get a little confusing at first, but we'll do our best to keep track. The kickoff is underway, and our championship is underway. This is a short one, and it's going to be picked up on the one hop by number 14 of the American All-Stars. That's Megan Glass of the Houston Power. She runs out of bounds, and the American team will start at roughly the 35-yard line. Last year, the National Conference won 21-6, I believe was the score, 24-6. The quarterback for the American team is Katie Sowers from the KC Titans, Kansas City to be precise, and she gives it to number 3. We'll try to get her number in a moment as she runs down the field and gets to the 44-yard line. That was number 3, but there are several number 3s, and we'll see if we can get a name.
A nice bit of running going to the outside, showing some patience and cutting it back along the far sideline. Didn't really get any help from her blockers, but able to shed a tackle and pick up positive yardage.
I believe that was Liz Sowers from the Kansas City Titans, who's listed at wide receiver, who got the carry. And as we said, names and numbers, we're going to get them as we go along throughout this broadcast. But that was our first play from scrimmage, a 6-yard gain, 2nd and 4, as Sowers drops back in a split-back formation. Low snap, she picks it up. The throw is long and incomplete. The intended target was number 21, Heather Kircher from the Kansas City War Angels.
And again, I think that just goes back to inexperience, lack of timing.
Oh, that was we have Kansas City Titans on that play. Again, the names and numbers, this is going to be an interesting day.
Well, at least for
for us.
For the All-Star game, for the Alliance Bowl and the championship game, you should
they'll be more organized. Sowers drops back on 3rd and 4. Handoff. And that will not be enough for the first down. The rusher on that play was number 26, Destiny Yarborough from the Central Cal War Angels. And that's one thing we hope to bring you today. If not, we'll have it in our on-demand version. I actually had a chance to speak with Destiny Yarborough last night. And we certainly hope to bring you some of those interviews when we get to the Alliance Bowl. We actually spent all evening talking to the 4 championship teams and one of our All-Stars who should be joining us in the booth later this afternoon. 4th and 3, and it appears a punt will be taking place. Playing it off the one hop is number 14, and she's not going to go far. Number 14 was Jamie Fornell from the Chicago Force, and we'll get our first look at the National Conference All-Stars. Once again, the Sports Brain, if you want to send me a live tweet, and we will read them on the air, and PSBMN if you want to send tweets of viewing parties or other pictures. We have several different channels for you, and you can also send us emails at the PSBMN link on your screen. 13:22 left in the first quarter. We should point out that we do have a play clock that's in use at this stadium, Los Angeles Southwest College, so that'll help things move along. That's number 3, Rachel Gore, who moved to the Chicago Force this year, played for Seattle a year ago, and we have a flag on the play. We do have penalties in the All-American game. Let's find out what the ruling is. And it looks like it's going to be against the national team. Holding is the call. That will push them back 10 yards.
Like how they get a holding call, and yet a couple of the American team members were still able to penetrate through that line real easy. Would have been a tackle for a loss. Instead,
they'll take the penalty yards, and it's 1st and 20.
Yep.
Now, most teams play at high school stadiums where a play clock isn't always accessible, so the officials keep track of it, but this time they'll be able to see it clearly. Rachel Gore dropping back. Looks like a pistol formation. Nope, actually she's under center. That was a running back, and the play clock's going to expire, but they get the snap off in time. The pass is caught for a gain of 7 yards. That was number 81 from the Cleveland Fusion, Maria Jackson. I believe she was in last year's All-Star game.
Oh, it's a nice timing route, and again, I mean, going opposite when we saw the Americans try to run that quick timing slant route, it didn't work out. Maybe the timing issues still prevalent for the Americans. The Nationals able to complete that quick strike pass and pick up positive yardage.
Gore lines up, this time in shotgun. Player in the backfield is number 88, and she's not listed on the roster. She moves up alongside. And they may not have gotten the play off in time. And that's exactly the case. Delay a game, so that makes 2nd and 12, 2nd and 17.
You're mentioning the play clock being advantageous, having it on the scoreboard. However, for the national team right now, they're going against and going away from the scoreboard, don't see it.
Well, there's play clocks on both sides of the field, but because they're not used to it, the timing patterns might be a little off. And as you noted, most of these players haven't played with each other before. And there's a high throw, and the interception is made. There was a little bit of a bobble, but making the catch was number 7 on the American team.
Probably Shipman. Stacy Shipman.
Yes, we have a spotter for Stacy Shipman of the Utah Blitz. We've got a spotter in a top hat here, and I'm very thankful he's here. Any chance you could join us in the booth?
Yeah, that one just kind of thrown up for grabs as you see on replay, and you know, you can be a little more risky in an all-star game where it doesn't necessarily count on your stat line, as that was a tough pass and it was picked off by the American team.
The pocket collapsed around the quarterback, and she just decided to get desperate in that moment to panic.
That kind of situation may be better off taking a sack. If she was on her regular team, I'm sure that would be the case.
Just like Shaq trying to take it up and down the court in an NBA All-Star game.
That's right.
1st and 10 for the American All-Stars, and the handoff is to number 23. She gains a yard. I believe that's Erica Moyes of the Minnesota Machine.
Hey, by the way, guys, we have Reed Silverman, our sideline reporter, will be checking in with in just a couple of minutes. She's going to let us know what's going on in terms of some player interviews, so hopefully we're able to connect with her and get you kind of a different perspective of maybe speaking to some players throughout the game.
That actually was Alexis Snyder from the San Diego Surge, last year's runner-up in the championship game. They lost 69-34 to the now defunct Boston Militia. 2nd and 9. It's another running play. It's again to nope, that's not Snyder. That is 43. She gains a couple of yards there. That is Priscilla Gardner from the Pacific Warriors. A lot of California teams taking part in this matchup.
Hey, Mike, can we go ahead and get a quick report from Reed Silverman? We're going to go ahead and send it down to her right now.
And as we hit 3rd and 8, Reed Silverman has a report for us. Take it away.
Like, guys, we weren't quite able to connect with her. We'll try to go ahead and get her later on in the broadcast.
That was the most accurate sideline report I've ever heard. 3rd and 8. We'll try again. Pass is picked off. Oh, my goodness. She threw a quick slant and right into the hands of number 45 from the Cleveland Fusion. That was Veronica Rucker. I'm not quite sure what the plan was, but she threw it right into Rucker's hands, and the National Conference gets the interception.
Couple of early turnovers for each side. Offenses have been stymied.
Well, as you noted, this will not count in the regular season numbers. So if you're going to throw a pick, this is the time to do it.
It's all wiped clean.
Let's see if the National Conference can pick up on that play clock, as Rachel Gore has split backs. Chicago got to the semifinal round, or the conference championship, I should say. The pass was intended for Maria Jackson, and it falls behind her, incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Good read by Gore, the quarterback, but not quite on the same page with the receiver. She kind of slanted inward, and it looked like it was supposed to be a post to the corner.
That brings up 2nd and 10 from the 40-yard line. Running play to number 88. She's got a hole, one person to beat, and she's gone. See you later. A 60-yard touchdown run. The National Conference strikes first. I'm not sure who that is, because from the Detroit Dark Angels.
Yeah, certainly one heck of a run there, Mike. And look at the National Conference on the scoreboard first here in this game. Of course, points are at a premium, so that could certainly be a big score.
They certainly were last year. The kicker is wait a minute. A flag was thrown before the snap was even made.
Another thing you could see a lot of in this All-Star game, it's not even like the Pro Bowl that you see in the NFL, where the guys at least, get a week or so to train with each other, so they at least have some kind of timing. A lot of these players have a day, if that, even to practice together. And again, another reason why you can sometimes see sloppy play. And these players are a lot more talented than they may look like in the game, and it's just because they haven't necessarily played together that much.
Extra point is blocked. The penalty was for an illegal substitution. Lauren Acker was the kicker from the Cleveland Fusion, but the National Conference turns an interception into a 60-yard touchdown run. They have a 6-0 lead with 10:06 remaining in the first quarter, and let's take a look. Well, they're called effectively American and National is East-West, but let's take a look at some numbers here while we have a break. Our two quarterbacks were among the league leaders in passer rating and in yards. Rachel Gore from Chicago was second this season in passing yards, 1,701, 65.9%. That also was tops in the league in completion percentage, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in the regular season. And Katie Sowers didn't crack the top 10 in passer rating, but she did finish with 1,235 yards, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Oh, we do have a name. It's Emily Halley from the Detroit Dark Angels, number 88. Thank you, T. Fortessa. Well, that confirms people are watching this, and there's number 10 on the American roster taking the kick to the 37-yard line. And there's 4 number 10s. That was Denitra Laster from the West Coast Lightning who fielded the kick. Thank goodness I got the binoculars so I can make out helmets. All right. First and 10 from the 37-yard line. Short snap. Sowers picks it up, goes deep. Pass is caught. Past midfield. And the American Conference will rip out a big play. And is there a fumble? Yes, it's a fumble. It's picked up by the National Conference, number 17. She's got a hold down the left sideline. Now she runs into traffic. And she will be wrapped up at the 30-yard line. The fumble was called, making the play. Number 17, Brittany Langley from the Indy Crash. They played in last year's Alliance Bowl, and she takes what would have been a big play from the American Conference and rips a big one for the National Conference on defense.
And you can see on the replay, it looks like that ball was clearly out before she was down. I was going to comment it was a nice touch pass there by the quarterback, but unfortunately the fumble hurts as now it goes the other way.
They spot the ball at the 29-yard line, and remember, the Sports Brain, if you wish to get a shout-out live on the air, as T. Fortessa did, and she certainly knows a thing or two about the Detroit Dark Angels, and let's see if Hallie comes up again here. I don't see her in the huddle this time. But you've got Rachel Gore with split backs. Who knows what can happen. Low snap. She gets the pass off, has a little bit of space, but she cannot hook up with Maria Jackson. Pass was too high. 2nd and 10 coming up. .9:33 left in the first quarter. And we're going to have some interesting scenery as we move along. As we get to the later games, day will turn to dusk, and then tonight. But beautiful weather here in Los Angeles. Not too hot, not too cold. About what you expect from Southern Cal. Hand off to number 25. She's not going to get past the line of scrimmage, and 3rd and 10 will be coming up. It looks like number 25, or was that 26? No, it was 25. It looked like from the Derby City Dynamite. That was Crystal White.
I think the National Conference 78 just missed a key block, which really could have sprung that run to go a lot further, but unfortunately for her, linebacker was able to get around, make a big stop for no gain, as it'll bring up 3rd and long here for the Nationals.
And it looks like we have a timeout for an injury. Or did you see someone call timeout?
Just the injury timeout.
Yeah.
Okay, it is an injury timeout. We want to be positive about that. And it looks like the injured player is number 52, Ayana Slaughter from the Acadiana Zydeco. Not only is he our spotter, he's our pronunciation guide. What's your name?
I'm Alex Daniel.
That's Alex Daniel. West Coast videographer, Alex Daniel. He's been very helpful for us in this first quarter. We resume play, and 3rd and 10 coming up. It's going to be a passing play as Gore rolls right. Well, now she's going to run. Oh, she got it off just before she crossed the line of scrimmage, or maybe not. There's a flag.
Aye, oh boy, Kevin.
She did.
Yeah, that was about a half yard in front of the line of scrimmage, a la what Brett Favre did a few times in his career.
From my vantage point, it looked like she got rid of it just as she crossed the 30, which would put her right at the line of scrimmage. And remember, the whole of her body in the football has to be across the line for it to be an illegal
Boy, I saw it on
pass.
the replay here. That was closer.
And I'd say an ineligible receiver.
I just want to say, guys, I caught this on the replay. It looked like she was actually behind the line of scrimmage on the throw, but you might be right, Mike, that it's just an ineligible receiver downfield, which will negate the play anyways.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was agreeing with that, that she wasn't across the line.
3rd and 15. It was close, but you're right. An eligible receiver renders that discussion moot, so that was a very useless conversation, which we're masters of here at PSB.
Thank you. Thank you for throwing us under the bus and not yourself.
I'm insufferable, don't you remember?
Thank you for reminding me.
3rd and 15, 8:25 left in the first quarter, and now a timeout for the National Conference. Each team gets 3 per half. So T. Fortessa mentioned that Emily Halley is her roommate. Hashtag Canadians are the bee's knees. Hashtag All-Star. Any other Canadians? We'd like to know. Send us a tweet at The Sports Brain. And T. Fortessa, we should note, is a student at the University of Windsor.
We do have a stoppage on the field. A reminder that Mike will have the post-production version of this game, which you can order at WFAfootball.net. So if you'd like to relive some of the memories from this game, go ahead and get your order ready to place at WFAfootball.net. Should have that final product ready in the next few days or few weeks or so.
And if we can't get it up for you in this game, one of those features was a one-on-one with Kadian Douglas from the Tampa Bay Inferno, and she'll be joining us later in the following two games. But there's a connection that we have, and I'll share that with you when we get another stoppage in play here. Oh my goodness, Sowers broke through the hole, the pocket collapsed, and she's going to run it for a first down. Katie Gore runs past the 19-yard line. I thought she was dead, proverbially speaking, as the pocket fell apart, and she just ripped one for 15 yards.
Boy, that was not exactly the way you drop to get a first down run, but certainly worked. As that pocket collapsed, there were some collisions, but no one was able to bring down the quarterback, and she scrambles for a first down on a very nice 16-yard run. How about that, guys?
The nose tackle tried making an arm tackle, and it didn't work out.
Rachel Gore had 16 rushing touchdowns in the regular season, 660 yards, 8.9 yards a carry. Low snap, she picks it up, but she's under pressure, dumps it off, and we play with college rules, so the pass was caught by number 1. Lassence Houston from the Derby City Dynamite, but because we play with college rules, once the knee goes down, you're automatically down. But that's still a 3-yard gain. 2nd and 7 coming up for the National Conference with 7 minutes and 35 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
You mentioned Kadian Douglas. I got an email from Adrian Perry saying shout out to Kadian representing Jamaica, Minnesota, and Florida.
And I've got a story with Adrian as well. There's kind of a connection between myself, Adrian, and Kadian. I'll let you simmer on that for a moment. And movement on the line. It looks like the snap, everything was legal. And here's number 22. She's trying to push away for the first down. She'll be stopped a couple of yards short by a host of tacklers. The carrier was Kiva Thomas of the Indy Crash. And that should bring up 3rd and 2.
I'll take a look here, Mike, and see if there was some early movement on.
There is a flag, so there may have been.
I was kind of with you thinking, well, actually looks like it may have been instigated by the defense. I wouldn't be surprised if they perhaps decide to go with that 2nd and 2 rather than 3rd and 1.5.
As it stands, it looked like to be an offside call, but we will check.
Got another email come through from Adrena Lockett saying, my sister's playing today, number 4, Lockfield, on the national team. Good luck. Your dreams have come true.
That was a face mask call on the national team.
Thanks for sharing that, Adrena.
So that's going to push them back 5 yards. So it makes it 2nd and 13. So what we thought may have been a penalty on the American Conference instead is the National as the play went on. But what do I know? I'm not officiating. Gore, 3-step drop, looking to go deep, high, just too high for Maria Jackson, the intended receiver. 3rd and 13 coming up from the 22-yard line.
Again, going over the top, had the safety late in the coverage, corner beat, but couldn't precisely pinpoint that pass and falls incomplete.
6:35 left in the first quarter, and the National Conference having a stronger performance thus far. Of course, the points don't matter in this game. Just like whose line is it anyway? The points are just like training camp going on right now in the NFL. It does not matter. Right, Brett?
For pride it matters. When pride still matters.
For some teams, I should say, for some teams, training camp won't matter. For others, it will. Play clock goes to 0, and it looks like we're going to have another timeout call. Nope, delay of game, and that's the 2nd delay of game penalty the National Conference has incurred. That play clock, again, officials keep time of it in the regular season where you don't have play clocks. As you mentioned, a lot of players new to each other. Some were on last year's team, but still not used to seeing that time wind down. And National Conference might want to speed up the huddle.
Yeah, trying to talk and walk through things, maybe for the first, second, third time. It's confusing.
Low snap. Gore. Confident under pressure, going deep, and hooks up with Jackson for the catch. She had a couple of players on her, and Jackson takes it to the 3-yard line, a 19-yard gain. Oh my goodness.
Brett, did that remind you of a Jackson on the Tampa Bay Bucks?
Wow, yeah, that was one heck of a catch. Take a look at this again on the replay, up for grabs. Very tough catch to make.
It's a basketball-type box out, too.
See a few times there on the replay. One heck of a grab and a big first down for the National Conference.
Maria Jackson had quite the season, led the league in receiving yards at 890, 18 touchdowns through the air. It's a running play to Hallie. Will she push through? No. Stopped actually at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
We're hoping here in the second half, while we have a moment, that we'll be able to check in with our sideline reporter, Reed Silverman, to get some player interviews. I know a lot of people watching from different players would maybe like to hear from them on air. Certainly would be a cool feature. We'll hopefully have that working by the second half.
Second and goal from the 2.5. But they're calling it 2 since they don't put halves on the scoreboard. Goal line formation and a fumble. I think Gore, oh, maybe she didn't get it.
Wow.
American Conference recovers. National Conference was marching down and the Americans stopped them cold. The fumble recovery was from number 32, Donna Gordon of the West Coast Lightning.
Looking at the I'm wondering if the quarterback actually meant to go to the halfback and not the fullback, but the fullback inadvertently thought the handoff was going to her, which led to that fumble on the play, and the American Conference recovering the football. Maybe some miscommunication there on who was supposed to receive that handoff. So it kind of looked like that the quarterback wanted to actually give it to the halfback, as he saw on the replay, but it was inadvertently hit out of her hand.
Play clock winding down. 1st and 10 from the 5-yard line. Let's see what Sowers does. Oh, she's in trouble. Remember, if she's tackled at the end zone, it's a safety. And she will get a couple of yards as she scrambles out to the 8-yard line, a gain of 3. That will make 2nd and 7 for the American Conference. And at T for Tessa wanted to point out to me that Hallie and number 52, Allison Loist, are her roommates at the University of Windsor, and they're all players for the Detroit Dark Angels. Of course, Detroit not too far from Canada. Hashtag the Canadians. And Loist also on the All-Star roster today for the National Conference. So we'll see if we can get at T for Tessa in here next year and complete the trio. 2nd and 6, 4-yard gain on the play. Handoff is to number 26, Destiny Yarborough, and no gain. National Conference thought there was a fumble, but it was ruled down by contact. Yarborough is actually battling a case of turf toe, and she's going to get that repaired. We'll talk more about that. Well, we should have some interviews with the Central Cal War Angels, the Atlanta Phoenix, and our Alliance Bowl. That is scheduled at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and the DC Divas and Dallas Elite at roughly 7 o'clock Pacific time. That's 10 o'clock for the Eastern time zone, 9 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock in the Mountain. 3rd and 6. And the Americans would love to at least get a first down here, but that will not happen. Great tackling and making the play was number 32, Rosalie Hammonds from the Tampa Bay Inferno, and the American Conference gets the fumble, but they don't flip the field. And as a result, the National Conference will have great field position, presuming nothing crazy happens on this punt.
The American offensive line's really struggling to hold their blocks. A lot of the runners have been left on an island, and credit to the national defense for, again, stopping the Americans. But maybe the offensive line could go through some discussions to try to get some better blocking in.
Low punt. Fielded on the 1-hop by number 14. and she'll get to the 25-yard line before she's wrapped up by a host of tacklers. That was Jamie Fornell of the Chicago Force. So as we have a stoppage in play to move, change possession, another tweet came in from @Snotnosed Gemini, who tells us that Hallie is a first-year player and she loves pink Starburst popsicles. Hashtag my rookie is better than yours. And remember, you can send me your shout-outs and we'll read them live on the air at The Sports Brain, TheSportsBrain, or you can search for my name one way or another. We'd love to hear from you, and I know we've been getting some emails.
Hey, Mike, we can just make it easier and put that graphic on the screen if we don't want to spell it, but do have another quick email to give to you. Denise Holland wants to give a shout-out to number 85, Shania, on the American team.
Hand off to number 25 on the national team. She's trying to turn the corner, will not be able to do so. Great tackle, and it looked like making that stop was number 45 of the American Conference. I want to say Christine Webb from the San Diego Surge. There's two 45s, and both are playing. Yes, that was the San Diego Surge. Christine Webb.
Of course, a team that we were able to see last year in the national championship when they lost to Boston in a very high-scoring affair.
San Diego had 3 turnovers in the first quarter that really doomed their chances of victory from the get-go. Loss of 1 on the play, and this time it's a bootleg right. Gore with plenty of room, lots of protection, and good coverage by the American Conference. They gave her no lane. She tries to run it and gets stuffed out of bounds for a gain of 3 yards.
Nice strong tackle by Angela Mims, lowering the shoulder pads and giving Gore a little pop. Another shout out. Bobby Marks says go number 11, Selena Cabalsi, or Cabalsi. Apologize on the pronunciation of the American team. Again, you can tweet us. Mike's always been talking about his handle. You can also tweet us at PSBMN.
I've always thought my handling skills were sharp. 3rd and 8 from the 18. Might be within field goal range, but Gore wants to stop that from happening, and instead she overthrows her intended target out of bounds, so that will bring up 4th and 10, and they'll go for it at the very least. The intended receiver was Taylor Wood from the Daytona Wave Runners.
Nationals have had that little bit of an out route over on the far side of the field several times today. Just Gore hasn't quite been able to line it up with a receiver. But for them to continue to try to take advantage of that right side of the secondary.
And remember, Rachel Gore took part in last year's Alliance Bowl with the Seattle Majestics, moved to Chicago, joined their team, and was a very strong quarterback. Unfortunately for Chicago, they once again were knocked out in the conference championship. Last year it was to Boston. This year it was to D.C. Player in motion, that's Wood, but Gore fakes the handoff. And she's sacked from behind. Number 87 makes the play. That is Suzanne Lynn from the Pacific Warriors. And a turnover on downs for the American Conference.
Nice jump of the snap by Lynn and able to continue, not only get the pressure on Gore, but to take down a very shifty quarterback. That was an impressive play.
Another tweet coming in from @T4Tessa. She's kind of been the only person in town, so saying shout out to Sydney Blanick, number 29, hashtag squid, hashtag bring on the Zeus. A little bit of Greek mythology. And Blanick also on this roster. So I see what she's doing. She's shouting out all the dark angels and hoping I won't notice. Actually, we appreciate that. Can keep your shout outs coming. Sowers is under pressure now. And she turned what would have been a broken play into a gain of 3 yards. There was a player pursuing her from behind, and it looked like she was going to be wrapped up. I couldn't quite see the number, but Sowers gets through for a gain of 3.
Again, great pressure by the Nationals, but credit Sowers for using that speed and the extra wide angle she took to the near sideline to at least make something out of nothing.
I see a missed tackle there in the backfield, which would have been a big loss, and good speed she got there, and also a good block from, I think, 71 on the Americans to help Springer for at least a short gain rather than what could have been about a 10-yard loss.
This may be the last play of the quarter, 2nd and 7. Hand off to number 23, looking for the corner, and she won't get it. Gains about 2 on the play. The ball carrier that time was Alexis Snyder from the San Diego Surge, and that should take us to the end of the first quarter.